Hello, Helen here. Kia ora. I'm from Nelson, New Zealand, and I'm very glad you stopped by if you're new, and glad you came back if you've been here before. I've doing this format a little bit differently today. I'm bringing the podcast a little bit later in the month than I usually do, and it's because we went for a bit of a holiday break earlier in the month, and I thought I would show you a little bit of that before I get into the actual podcast. So we ended up going up to Wellington, which is the capital at the bottom of the North Island. We live at the top of the South Island, so we go to a place called Petite, catch the ferry, go over to Wellington. We went over in time to go to the World of Wearable Arts show that they put on once a year. Now this is a worldwide entrance from all over the world into these beautiful costumes that they've made out of all sorts of materials, quite often recycled materials, and they're just works of art, and they put on this amazing show that usually has a storyline, and it was called Dreams Awake this time was the theme. They have acrobats, they have light shows, they have just all sort dances, all sorts of things in the production, and woven in amongst that story is all the costumes come out, and there's different themes and things. Now we weren't allowed to take footage of the actual show, but if you looked up World of Wearable Arts New Zealand, you'd find possibly videos from previous years, but they had some of the costumes from previous years circulating around amongst the audience before the show started. So I tried to zoom in, we were quite a distance away, but zoom in as much as possible, and so I could show you some of the costumes and the lighting and things. And then I had to turn the cameras off, of course, when the show was on, and then we went back to our hotel afterwards, got up the next morning, and we travelled up to Greytown, which is a beautiful little town. It's only about an hour and a half out of Wellington, but we based ourselves there because it's just a lovely little historical town with beautiful buildings, little boutique shops, no chain shops whatsoever there, and a real community vibe there. It was just lovely. They supported all their artisan food producers and artists. The hotel we were staying at, which I've got a photo of that, the White Swan was, its menu was totally Wairarapa food, cheeses, lamb, mushrooms, all sorts of things. They only use local produce in their menus, and it was really full all the time. It was a really popular place, and the food was amazing. We went and ate at several different restaurants while we were there as well, and that was amazing. And it's a really good base for going up to Masterton, which is the closest city. They have an amazing bakery there, and we went to a couple of really cute little wool shops. We travelled to another area called Martinborough, which is wine country, and there was lots of wineries, and also a little township with beautiful little old buildings and things. So I'll show you the footage and the photos of that, and then we'll meet back and I'll do the actual podcast. So see you soon. Right, thanks for coming back. I hope you enjoyed those photos. Today's podcast, I have 2 finishes and 3 works in progress. 2 of them are new cast-ons and 1 of them's just an ongoing one, my blanket, which I'll just show you the progress I've made with that. So we'll start with what I'm wearing. So this is the Anker tee or Anker summer shirt that I knitted with some yarn that's Merino Silk, and I bought it bare and I dyed it just a very hint of pink. It's a really lovely pattern, but I was struggling a bit once I got down to about halfway down this body because it was just stocking stitch, 4-ply, done on 3mm needles, and it just seemed to go on forever. But I did persevere and finally finish it, and I'll just pop in a bit of B-roll of me wearing it so you can see the full length of it. I really like the length that I did it. I prefer my tops to be that sort of length. I could have gone a little bit shorter because the yoke goes so far down. I could have gone a bit shorter in the sleeves because it goes all the way to the elbow, but that's fine. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to wear it in the full on summer, but I certainly can wear it early spring, and I'll be able to wear it in autumn. It's certainly lovely and comfortable. Doesn't help that I've got the mic on my neckline, so it's pulling it down a little bit, but yes, that's my first finish. And the second finish was the shawl I was making. It was by Kelly, no, what's her name? It's Salt City Knits, and she also does Yarnberry. I'll put what the name of the shawl and what the who designed it along here somewhere, but it's turned out really beautiful. It was yarn that I dyed myself, and I'm really pleased with how the speckles have come out. It's beautiful speckles of pink, quite hot pink, mauve, and the mauve or the purple split in some places, and it's got little specks of red and blue, and I don't know whether you can see that very well. But I'm really happy with how that's turned out, and it's just increased. You start in the middle here, you increase, you knit so many rows, you do a row of garter, and then when you get to the bottom here, it was designed to use a full 100 gram skein and a 20 gram mini. So I already had that mini, and I thought it was just beautiful colouring. So it's just a little patch of mesh, and then you do this lovely lace that's done sideways, and you work your way along all the stitches, casting off as you go. So a really cool pattern, really enjoyed it. And it didn't take too long to do, so I'm really happy with that. So I'll pop that away for next autumn when you need a little bit of warmth around your neck. But yeah, very, very happy with that. So that's my 2 finishes. Now the first of my whips is my Sweet Shop blanket. This is an ongoing project, and I'm only going to show you this time because I've made a bit of progress on it. So it's the Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose, And last time I had been here, so I had done 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd been that much. So I've done 1 more row widthways and 1 more row lengthways. So all the way along this way and all the way along that way. So what I'm wanting to do is do 6, a width of 6, and then I'll just decide how deep I want it. I'm just really wanting a lap blanket. So it's looking, I'm really pleased with how it's looking. It's done with 8 ply. The cream is just a basic cream Australian wool, and I've mentioned it in other podcasts, so I'll also have the details underneath in the description. But what I was using for the coloured parts are all balls of 8 ply that I had dyed myself. So I had got a couple of skeins of bare yarn, and I'd divided it up into 2 20-gram lots, and I had a play at dyeing, and that's kind of what I did, and then rolled them back up into balls. So I've done 1 square with each of these balls, but unfortunately, and I should have checked that before I did them all, is they've turned out to take 11 grams of, just slightly over 11.7 or something grams of the yarn per square, which means that the bits that I've got left, in most cases, I mean that one I will have, and there's one there that I will have, but most of the smaller ones that I've got, I won't have enough to do another square. So that didn't work out quite how I'd wanted it to. So I've got all these colours, but I'm not going to be able to use them for the rest of my blanket. So what I've got to decide what I plan to do is either, I don't know, buy some 20 minis in 8 ply, or whether I buy another hank of bare yarn and dye a whole lot of colours, but I don't really want to do that because that's really quite a small quantity. But if I bought some skeins of variegated yarns, then I'm going to have to repeat them a couple of times just on one stripe, so I didn't want to do that either. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. But what I plan to do is put it away now. It's getting too warm to have it on your lap, and you've got to have the whole blanket on your lap as you do it, because you do the squares as you go. I think I'm going to be putting it away until the start of autumn, and then get that back out again, and by that stage hopefully I've made a decision. I do have, as I said, a few balls that are big enough, and I should be able to get at least another square out of those. But then yes, I won't be able to use any of the little ones. And I don't really want to do stripes. I don't want to really mix any of them. So yes, it's a bit of a predicament, and it's a bit of a bummer really. But yeah, by next autumn I should have decided what I'm going to do. The next thing I've got is 2 new cast-ons. Now one of them I decided I wanted to be able to do a vest, and I've seen lots of people doing really amazing cable jerseys and things, and I thought it'd be really nice to find a cable pattern that had a lot of interest to it, and do a vest that I could pop over long sleeve t-shirts or shirts for sort of before it gets too cold when you need another layer, you know, full layer. So and I'd also seen they had a bit of a spiel about a New Zealand mill here up north that creates their own wool right from the fleece. So they do all the different parts, and it's just an in-house mill, and I thought it'd be really good to support them, so I ended up getting some yarn from them, and this one is, it's called Gaia, that's the label there, and it is 50 grams of 75% merino and 25% alpaca, and it's 104 meters approximately per ball, and it's this gorgeous teal sort of mallard color. I can't remember what they call it, Tanzanite. Really beautiful. It's very super soft. So I found a pattern that I don't know whether I've got a picture of it. Yes, there's pictures of it there. I'll have a, sorry, my dog's drinking and walking around just quite close to the camera. So it is called Hyris makes the Hayley Slipover. So I'll pop a picture of that from Ravelry here. And it's done with a chart. In the chart, you look up, what did it say? So it's got some YouTube videos, and it's also got a site where you can look the chart up, and it looks a little bit like this. I can't show you too much, but I'll just show you quickly. And you work your way along the pattern, and on the site that you look the chart up, you can grey out so that you've just seen the row that you're doing, and it's really good because I normally do it from paper. I don't normally do it on my tablet, and I've been finding it quite hard going, but and I also had trouble getting gauge, so I did a swatch, and sorry I've forgotten to bring it down. I did a swatch on the size needle that they said, and it turned out to be quite a little small swatch, so I knew that wasn't right, so I did a bigger swatch, and I think that's here. So the swatch is there, and I pretty much got gauge on it. That's been washed and blocked, so it's asked for 4mm needles, and I've gone up to 4.5mm needles, and I have got this far. You start at the top shoulder. I've got this far, and it is very stretchy, and I'll just stretch it out a bit on the needles because it's looking quite small, but to me it looks very small for me. You know, like it's, I guess by the time you get armholes on it and things, it will be a little bit wider. But it's knitting up beautifully soft. It is probably a little bit more complicated pattern than what I'm used to because it's got cables. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cables that are just normal, you know, twisting one way, and then there's got these ones in the middle here that you kind of go in. So there's a left and a right, and I've been finding it really hard going, and I have to say haven't been really enjoying it that much, and I think it's possibly because, you know, it seems a long way away before I'm going to need the vest, because we're just, you know, in spring now, and then we're going to get some quite hot weather, so it's probably not going to be the most ideal thing to knit in the next wee while. So yeah, and I did contemplate frogging it and getting a more simple pattern, and something that would be a little bit wider. I did go up a bit of well, no, I didn't go up a size because I'm doing it on bigger needles. I thought it would be plenty big enough, but I'm not sure that it is. Especially when we get to my bust size. But anyway, I might just trust the process and the pattern and keep going, but at the moment I haven't really been picking it up from after doing that much, so I think I might just sort of sit on it for a while, and then when it starts cooling off a little bit, I'll feel more inclined to get it done because I want to wear it. So yeah, that one's going to go for a little bit of a break. And then the next one is I started doing because I bought this wool while we were away. We went to a couple of quite cool wool shops, and in Masterton and then one in Greytown, and I'll talk about that because I've got some purchases to show you later. But this one is, I got started more or less as soon as we got back, and it's been really good to take with me. I've started looking after my grandson who's 7 months on a Thursday, which is my day off. So she can go back to work, and she's going back 2 days at the moment. She's going back on a Thursday and a Sunday so that her husband can look after Riley that day, and she didn't have to pay for childcare since she's only doing 2 days a week. And so I start at 7 in the morning and go through. She arrives just before 5, so by the time we've had a crossover and we've talked about where he's at and what sleeps he's had and what feeds he's had, etc. But I've been finding it really good when he's having his sleep. Sometimes it's only half an hour, so it's not a very long sleep, but he has about 3 through the day, and I've been picking this up sort of when I can. Now the yarn is this multicoloured yarn, and it's a big ball. It's Patons, and it's called Sierra 8 ply. It's 150 grams per ball, and it's got really cool colours in it. And I spotted it and thought, wow, that'd make a really cool shawl to wear on those cold nights when you're sitting in the lounge. So I've started it, and I'm doing, it's called moss stitch, and I'm just doing very simple. It's coming out quite bright there. Oops, I'm losing stitches here, so let me just make a bigger loop. It's not knitting up how I thought it would have, I have to say. Like, there's a lot of orange, a lot of blue, and a lot of sort of purpley colour. I like this bit here where it's got some green and some pinks in that part, but there's a little bit too much orange for my liking. But anyway, we'll carry on with it because it's knitting up quite cool. I ended up going up a size needle than what, well, a crochet hook than what it said on the ball. So I think it said 4 millimetre, but that's knitting needles, and I presume it's the same for a crochet hook. But anyway, I went up to 4 and a 5 because I thought it felt too dense, and I think it's still feeling quite dense, but I guess that will mean more warmth for in the winter. So I'll carry on, and I think, like, I've got starting to look quite deflated, the ball that I'm using, so I don't know how far it'll go. There's 150 grams per ball, but of course the further you go out in the shape, the triangle shape, the less you kind of get with your ball of yarn. So I'll carry on. It's certainly different than anything else I've done before, and I really like the moss stitch. I've seen a couple of people on YouTube make corner to corner blankets, and they were just using up little, you know, scraps and changing colour every row, and this is pretty much doing that as well, the way it's working out. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the sort of how quickly it grows. It's quite satisfying doing the crocheting, and yeah, I'm really enjoying the crocheting as well as opposed to knitting. I've done a few things in knitting, and it's quite nice to go back and do some crocheting, so I think I'll continue with that, and I'll certainly pick it up, and you know, some nights when I'm too tired I won't, and other nights when I'm feeling inspired I'll pick it up and do some. So so that's my 2 cast-ons. So that's pretty much, I haven't been sounding muffled because it had worked its way inside the top there, sorry about that. And now I'll show you some of the things I bought while I was away. So yes, this was one of the yarns that I bought. I bought 2 balls of that, and then my husband picked out a colour. Here's another wool that's made in New Zealand. It's called Naturally Big Natural, 100% New Zealand wool, 8 ply, and it's 305 yards to 88 metres approximately, because it's a 150 gram ball as well. We don't see a lot of 150 grams, but my husband picked it out thinking it'd be a lovely jersey for Riley for next winter, and I really didn't know whether I'd get a jersey out of just 1 ball, so I bought 2 balls of it, and he really liked the colour, and I thought I'd just do a simple, I've seen a pattern on Ravelry that's just simple cables with garter in between, and then it's got like a little placard and yoke, and I thought that would be really lovely on him. So I'll knit that, but I'll wait till nearer winter so I know what size he is, because he's growing so fast and he's quite tall, he's quite long in the body, so he's you know, I'm going to have to do it to measurement, but that's going to be great to have. And then one of the first places I wanted to go to when we found out we were going to go and stay at Greytown, or decided we were going to stay at Greytown, was a shop called what's it called? Goodwill Hunting, and they've just, I think they moved fairly recently, and she's got a lovely shop built onto a farm, I think it is, and had huge array of different sock yarns. Some of these, you know, opal and West Yorkshire spinners and all those kind of ones, but then she also had quite a few yarns that had been hand dyed here in New Zealand and imported, some really beautiful yarns, and I must say I felt it quite overwhelming because there was just so much stock, and it was, you know, I'd gone through the website before I went and thought, oh, this would be nice to look at and this would be nice to look at, but when I got there I first found it hard to find what I was looking for, and B, all the sock yarn was just amazing. And I decided I was going to buy myself one skein of the sock yarn, and then I'd buy something else that was a, you know, special yarn, and that would be it. So what I ended up doing is I surprised my husband, because I bought a very bright rainbow coloured sock yarn, and it's West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, and it's called Rum Paradise. And I think because I tend to wear my knitted socks, I've only done 3 pair, I think, for myself. I only wear them around. So yeah, I bought that for myself to knit myself a pair of socks. And my special yarn was, my special yarn, I bought this yarn here, which is perfectly sort of neutral. It's a neutral grey. it was called Scrumptious, and it's 45% silk, 55% merino. And it just feels amazing. So soft, so beautiful. And it's luxury fibres spates, I think it is, yarns. But I got this neutral colour because I thought it'd be really nice to do some sort of shawl, maybe a lacy shawl that was stripy, and either do this colour and then some minis from some advents that I've been buying as different stripes, or, you know, I just thought it was a really good neutral to have to go with maybe a really fancy skein of, you know, mixed colours or something like that. So I grabbed that, and the lady had a competition on that if you spent a certain amount, she went into a drawer and she had a basket full of all sorts of different sock yarns and needles and things like that. And so I was about $6 off of the total. So I ended up going around and finding, oh, before I did that, I also bought myself, I'd wanted to try the 9-inch Chigo needles for knitting the socks. I've tried the DPNs and I've tried Magic Loop, and find them both a little bit frustrating. So I thought, oh, I'll just try the 9-inch ones. Is it 9-inch though? They look smaller than that. Includes one 2-inch and one 3-inch set of surgical steel tips, and then includes a 13 centimetres, so 5-inch, and one 6-inch, which is 15 centimetre mini cable. So I thought I might give them a go. I don't know whether the smaller needles or the bigger needles would be best, but I would add that to my Chigo collection that I've got, or started to get. So yes, that was for the socks. And then yes, to make up the amount, I bought just one of the little sample bottles of eucalyptus, and it's grapefruit and pamplemousse. So it's just a little bottle of the eucalyptus wool wash. And then I also bought a little badge which I'll stick on one of my bags. I waited to show you before I did that, which is a little rainbow ball of wool with a crochet hook sticking through it. And I thought that was quite cute too. So that was just made up the $6 to go into the competition, and I think it was the end. I think it was to go for the full month from memory. So she must have been doing the draw fairly soon. So yeah, if I'm very lucky, I might win, but it'll go to a good home, I'm sure. So that's all my purchases that I did while I was away. We've had a fairly slow start to our spring. It hasn't been very warm. We've had lots of cold spells. We're supposed to have another cold spell in the next couple of days. What else have I been doing for October? Yeah, just getting used to the long day that I'm looking after Riley. I've been really enjoying his, you know, his company for the day. He's such a delight. He's just such a delightful little boy. He sings and he chuckles, and he's just a happy wee boy the whole time you've got him. He loves when Nan comes and visits. He loves seeing Nan's car pull up. So it's really lovely that he enjoys my company and enjoys me looking after him. He doesn't seem to worry about that his mum and dad aren't there at all, which is just lovely. But boy, am I tired when I get home afterwards, and I go to work the next day, so I'm usually just really tired that day. But I'm sure I'm going to get used to it. It's just a really long, full-on day when you're trying to work in bottles and solids and you know, sleep times and nap changes and all those kind of things. So yeah, I'll get used to it. And I do really enjoy my day with what else have I been doing? I've been having a play with having a go at doing some sourdough. So I've started a sourdough starter, and that's about 2 weeks in now. So I've had a go at making some crackers with the discard, and haven't actually made a loaf of bread yet because I'm not totally sure whether it's really ready yet. It's been, because we've had really cool temperature, the starter hasn't been as active as I think it should be for bread. So I'm just going to go another week working on the starter, because hopefully we've started getting some more 20-22 degree days, so hopefully it'll start being more active and I'll have a go at that. So I'll talk about that next podcast. What else have I been doing? Just got started going back into a little bit more diamond painting. I'm going to finish the row that I was doing on the painting and then put it away and get out one of the Christmas ones I have, and I think I might do a bit of that leading up to Christmas, and then I'm sure I won't finish it before Christmas, and then put it away for next Christmas and finish it next Christmas maybe. But I'm trying to mix up my days a bit because I definitely haven't been feeling like knitting as much as I usually do, and I think it's possibly because I'm been quite tired. But yeah, I think I'll just work on my crocheted shawl and give the knitting a rest for a few weeks, or probably even until next podcast. And you might see I've picked some of it back up again, or you might see that I haven't done much at all. So we'll see how we go. I was going to show you my sewing that I'd been doing, hadn't I? So I'll just grab that and I'll just show you the rest of the bags that I've made. Okay, so I've grabbed my bag of bags that I've been making. So I think I showed you the pink one that I'd done, which is large size, although I think from this point on I'd make it wider and maybe shorter, because I think this might be a little bit deep for some projects, but that's a big one. So each of them I've been making with a little hook thing that you can stick or anything you like really, but probably stitch keeper, stitch counters or various other things. And then each of them are fully lined. They have, it's a bit hard to show you, but they have a two, I'll hopefully show you with one of the smaller ones, a pocket, and they've also got a little tab with a D-ring so that you can hang other things in them. So that's the large one, zip one. And then I did this medium one, and I showed you that as well. I think, so that's a zip one, same, but that sort of difference in size. So a little bit smaller. And I think you'd still probably get a jersey or the start of a blanket, or something that was two balls or thereabouts in it. And then I did a couple of drawstring one. Oh, sorry, there's another zip one. I did that in the black and white check. Again, it's got two pockets, the hook. So I've got two zip ones, and then I've made two drawstring ones. So there's the mauve one with the drawstring top that's got a contrasting liner, two pockets, the D-ring inside, and also the hook on this outside, but it's drawstring. So I've been really enjoying making these, and then I did a lovely teal green one with sort of floral stripes on it. It's got a plain teal lining, and they're all patchwork, they're all padded, nice good quality fabrics. And then I did a couple of small, so I've done one zip one. I think this is sort of in between the small size that I'd do and the medium size. It just, because of the way I did the checks, it turned out to be a bit smaller. So again, that one's a zip one with a lovely floral inside. And then I did a small sock drawstring one, and that's just got plain burgundy fabric. So that's definitely a smaller one, and that's the difference between the medium and the small. So yeah, a little bit smaller. So that's more for a sock or a, you know, one's skein shawl or something like that. And then I've also done, these are probably not going to be for sale, but I could do them if people wanted, but I've done three different little bags, zip bags, in a similar style, this one's got black fabric in it. These ones are going to be gifts for Christmas to a couple of colleagues and a friend, and I thought I'd just pop a few little bits to go with them. I find they're really good for when you're going on holiday to take all your charger cords, or you could use them for makeup. You could use them for notion pouches, of course, but I think they're really handy to have around. So they're all different, both sides. This one I've kind of done it more patches, and then that one was done with patches. So yeah, I've been having lots of fun with all this, doing all these different bags, and I'll stop now and I'll see whether I can sell them. Still haven't decided what platform to sell them on. I'll see whether I can sell them on Marketplace to start with, because that's free, but then I'll either do Trade Me, or we have another website called Felt that you can do sales of craft and, you know, artisan things through, so I'll try that if I can't end up buying, you know, selling them through Marketplace. So we'll see how we go with that, but I think they've turned out really nice, and they're really good quality bags made of good quality fabric, so hopefully people will enjoy them. So yes, that's what else I've been busy with this month and the end of last month. So that's my month of crafty adventures. So again, yes, I hope you end up getting some crafty time in the next wee while as we have a lead up to Christmas. It's going to get quite crazy, so I'm not totally positive if I'll do a November podcast, or whether I'll just do one in December and show a few Christmassy things. So we'll see how it goes, but thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.